Rift of Worlds team building. Okay. If you're like any other person that's checked out influencers in the YouTube and streaming world or whatnot, the one thing that everyone likes to do is find out exactly how to build their team, right? They hear this, basic list of monsters, but they don't understand why they're bringing them all together. So I'm going to break it down here for you, and then we're going to talk about like a quasi free-to-play team that, generally people utilize when they're, creating their compositions here. So ultimately, when you're looking for your comp, right, you're looking for monsters that are providing a wide variety of harmful effects. You're looking for monsters that can provide an overall kit, not just with the harmful effects, but with the leader skill, because obviously you're going to need the leader skill to come into play. But more importantly, and I think this kind of gets overlooked quite a bit, is you're looking for monsters that provide the harmful effects, but provide the harmful effects or more opportunities to land that harmful effects. And then last but not least, monsters that have those harmful effects that are crucial that you need on your first skill. Okay, so when it comes to the front line, when we talk about free to play, we say, yeah, Zhang Fei, Darien, or Diaz, those are great. Why? Well, obviously Zhang Fei, the defense break is great, but it's more so the counterattack ability on the second skill that allows him to get those consistent defense breaks, and then the attack speed, attack break, and the glancing. So you got 4 harmful effects with a small heal and like unlimited defense breaks here, which is obviously in the leader skills, which is why it's good. Darien or Diaz, people go back and forth about this. Me personally, Darien is great, and I like the fact that he does a little bit more damage with his first and second skill. But when it comes to first skill abilities, Diaz is one of those few monsters out there that you can get a lot of value of with that hit point disturb on the first skill. So again, for those that haven't seen, all over the YouTube, right? A lot of people utilize the revenge sets, especially for the front line, so you can get a lot more harmful effects in there. You get hit a lot more when you're on the front line here. So those 2 monsters are going to be great for the front line. Then again, if you have a Bella, when you're first starting out, Bella is generally a nice solid healer that you can throw in there. The base stats overall are really good that you can incorporate with the front line if your stats are there. Most people already have it built, so it's not going to take anything away from you. Obviously, the second skill is not going to be too useful, the buff removal, but the defense break, the consistent defense break if you don't have Xiong Fei, and then of course it's conditional heal, the smart heal, the heal that's going to allow you to heal when you don't, when things get a little rough around the edges. It's a really nice ability to use. So that's your basic front line, right? And then in the back downtown, you got Coleen, who is by far, out of all the monsters that will ever get recommended to you, is going to be the #1, simply for the fact of what I was already kind of discussing about. When it comes to certain harmful effects, certain abilities in the first skill, you got the attack break in the first skill, you got that hit point disturb you're looking for in the second. The thing about her is not about the fact that she provides the attack break of the hit point disturb, but it's more so the fact that she provides it numerous hits, more opportunities to hit, right? She has 2-turn hit on the first skill and then 4-turn hit for the hit point disturb. So more opportunities to hit means more chances to land the debuffs and more consistency for your runs. When you're looking at monsters, if you have an opportunity to bring certain monsters that have a single hit versus a multi-hit, I'm always going to recommend the one that's going to have a multi-hit, because I think it does. I think it's a lot more reliable, just so you can keep it consistent. Of course, when it comes to cleansers, when we think about cleansers like free-to-play ones, it's like Konami is going to be the one that people generally talk about if you don't have the opportunity to get the other premium monsters out there. Konami kind of breaks what we're trying to talk about here, providing some harmful effects or the utility for the first skill. But when it comes to cleansing, I think you can kind of set those rules aside, because ultimately the goal for those is cleansing, right? So if you can do what you got to do to get the stats you need, the speed that you need to cleanse and keep your units at bay, then you are sitting really good, really good. Obviously, again, there's a lot of other units that I prefer, but when it comes to Konami, I think she does a really good job. She doesn't have a lot of beneficial effects outside of her resurge ability, so you're going to be able to keep your beneficial effects low so that the boss doesn't keep on collecting those and do a little bit more damage. So those are like the 4 main monsters, and generally speaking, depending on where you're at in the game, you have the last 2 spots for potential DPSer, right? And I think I've already thrown it out. We're saying Zhang Fei, either Darien or Diaz. Then you got Bella, Coleen, and Konami. So you got 5 monsters. But let's say your Coleen is good, your Zhang Fei is good. You got the stats overall to be able to keep up with the heals, and you're running Diaz for defense mitigation. So the last two spots are going to be, you know, damage healers, right? When it comes to everything that we've kind of talked about, all the first skill abilities are covered with the exception of glancing and with the exception of attack speed. So if I had to put an emphasis on one or the other, I would put a little bit more emphasis on the attack speed decrease. I feel like the turn ability control is extremely important. Being able to manipulate the speed at which the boss is going to be hitting you, I think it's really, really important. It's kind of underrated, I think. I think a lot of people know that they have to use a speed buff, and I don't think or speed decrease, speed slow, right? But they don't realize like how important it really is. So obviously when it comes to monsters, they're going to provide the slow, the critical rate, you know, critical rate lead, and then the passive attack bar manipulation. Hua is your best one to go with, but if you don't have Hua, I want to throw something out there. Okay, I'm gonna throw a monster that you guys are gonna be like, I don't know about that. We're gonna look for that budget Hua. Okay, I'm gonna go find somebody up in here. Let me see if I can find. If I remember, who is it? Is it KV? I think it's KV. Let's take a look at KV. So, if it ever loads up, finalize. I'm doing pretty good, man. It's good to see you. How you doing? It's okay if you missed the stream, man. If you were at the gym, that's all right. That's all right. All right, so is it in this list? Is it in this? Yes, it is. Okay, so if you are working on your Rift of Worlds team and you have everything that you need, like budget-wise, but you don't have a Hua, you don't have the unit with the critical rate lead, you don't have a first skill attack speed debuffer, you don't have any way to manipulate attack bars. I personally feel that Lauren, the light cowgirl, is a very, very good option. Now, disregard these stats, okay? Disregard these stats, okay? Because obviously this is not optimal, so to speak, for Rift of Worlds. This is set up for Necropolis. But have you really taken a look at her skill set, right? We got 3 opportunities here to land the attack speed, which is what we're talking about. We're trying to go for that first turn attack speed. We got the second skill, 2 hits for a hit point disturb. This is going to assist you with that Diaz, with that Coleen, to make sure you get the hit point disturb. If you guys already don't know, if you miss a hit point disturb in a crucial point, that boss is going to get a ton of hit fee and really, really slow you down. And then, of course, last but not least, this passive. This has an opportunity to decrease the attack bar and weaken the enemy's effects with 1 turn for the 50% chance. Of course, it's not as reliable, 50% chance versus, like, you know, Hua's passive, right? Which doesn't have any kind of activation rate and whatnot. Well, with the exception of the double hit, okay? This unit is super, super good. I think it's underrated. When you look at her stats versus Hua's stats, I don't think KV has Hua. Okay, so KV has Hua, 9720. Okay, take a look at the speed. It's not, or the HP and the defense is really not too far from where she's at. Obviously, it's going to need a little bit more TOC when it comes to effective HP, but when you consider the overall utility of the monster, the fact that this can be utilized in multiple aspects of the game, you know, any multi-hit ability, you know, Necropolis, you got Rift of Worlds, you even got the Light Beast that, the Dark Rift Beast that favors multi-hitters. You can get a lot of value out of this, so I don't think it's like a waste of time to build this one if you're looking for a key monster of Rift of Worlds and you want to use it in other aspects of the game. So that's a big one here. Another one that everybody talks about, the Water Kung Fu Girl Xiaolin. You guys already know what it is, right? That unit can do some crazy damage. That third skill, being able to provide a little additional damage with every single harmful effect on the enemy. When it's on cooldown, it's going to be able to chain its first skill, its second skill. Really, really important because, again, it has the ability to do the attack speed, the defense break, and the attack bar reduction on here. So if you don't have a Xiaolin, if there was a monster that I would recommend, my choice would be, let's see if I can find him. It's going to be the Wind Homunculus. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up iFrank here because I think he has a pretty good Wind Homunculus. I think his is built for Necropolis as well, but we're still going to take a look at it. Because I feel like when the Homunculuses came out, there was a lot of hype around, and then it kind of died down. People kind of stayed away from it. But when ultimately people are, you know, pushing into the later stages of the game, really trying to focus on increasing the speed at which you clear it, but they don't have Xiaolin, or maybe they do have Xiaolin, but they're looking for another +1 to kind of fill in that void, right? The Wind Homunculus, right? When built in this kind of format. I feel like it provides a lot of value when it comes to utility, and one of which being the utility that most people don't incorporate in their compositions, which is branding. Okay, so first skill, 3 chances to do the hit point disturb. Again, this is something that I was talking to you guys about. Hit point disturb, first skill, is super important, especially when you incorporate it with Lisa, which is obviously one of the best cleansers in the game. Being able to cleanse and then provide the units to go attack, you're going to get a lot more value out of units that have the first skill abilities, right? Second skill, the attack speed and the branding that we're looking for. Okay, branding is not something you generally do, but or not something that you generally see, but I definitely am a big fan of it. Not just for the fact that you got those 2 skills coupled, but it's a 2-turn cooldown, so you're going to be cycling through this skill a lot. And then the last choice, honestly, you can go either way. He has it built with Whirling Wind, so he can get another opportunity to land the branding, so it can have more consistent brandings across the board throughout the match. But even if you go with the second option, and this is like, if you look at the Wind Homunculus tier, it's the top one, the top or bottom one. The top one, the top one is this Whirling Wind, and then the second one is a 5 skill or 5 hit multi-hit that does additional damage if you consecutively hit the boss. So it's great for Necropolis, it's great for Rift of Worlds, but you can go either way. You can go either way on this one. But if you are looking for a +1, maybe you have Hua, you don't have Zalan, and maybe you have Zalan, you don't have Hua. Really take a look at the Wind Homunculus. It's going to take a little bit more time. I understand this is more of a late game approach. You're going to have to clear the Rift Beast, you know, get a reasonable score and invest some time into it. But I do believe that the value of this unit overall and the ability to change the unit however you see fit, if you want to use the water one later on down the road or the fire one later on the road, the ability to change it around still makes it viable, still makes it usable or worth your time to invest if you don't have the right monsters. So I hope that information helped for you guys. If you ever have any questions down the road, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care.